Online, you're known for being a master of guitar, so you like to do crazy shit. What does it take to become a master, you think, Dave?
You got to get obsessed. You've got to be very clear on what you want. You've got to be very clear that you want it. You've got to be willing to pay the price. You've got to be willing to embrace the level of challenge. You've got to prioritize. For all the things you've got to be clear on, you've also got to be okay about being unclear on certain things and finding your feet. There was no master plan for me to master guitar to the level I did. It was literally just desire and hard work.
Now you're switching even more into entrepreneur mode rather than just teacher. What's been the toughest thing about that, you feel?
Focus. And
how long were you doing in person before you transitioned to online?
I would say...
Hello. In this episode, we're going to dive very deep with Dave Donoghue. He is a master guitar player. He broke the world record for longest played guitar nonstop. I don't remember what year, but he played for over 24 hours. Consistent, I think it was at least 10 people audience. So imagine getting your friends all there. Not only that, but he also runs an online guitar learning community. We dive into that. We talk about personal development, the biggest events in history that have shaped him in terms of a person and what it really takes to master something. Talk about personal development events he's been to where you can go yourself. And it's not just about mastering guitar, but really hitting a high level of success in whatever you want to do. Because it takes a bit of crazy to do that. And I think you'll find that's very interesting. Enjoy. Always love to start episode with a very specific question, which is, because we're both public, talk a lot about a lot of stuff, but what do you wish people knew more of about you that you don't often share enough, you think?
Ooh. I'd say it's how much I love personal development. Would have read a ton of books, did 10 marathons in 10 months, which back then, like 10 years ago, I used to like, and you know that joke, how do you know somebody's run a marathon? They'll tell you. But like, stuff like that. But kind of the last few years, yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Why is, how come you don't share that now, you feel?
Do you know what? I don't, do you know what? I think the algorithm, and in terms of being so thinking about, okay, so if I'm producing guitar content, I talk about guitar and then running, you know, sometimes I use metaphors and analogies, but it was a whole other time, like it was years ago. So yeah, a bit disconnected from it, I suppose.
Because I know you love running and personal development. I mean,
yeah,
but maybe that's also because that's my world. I love that too. But
yeah,
what would you want people to know specifically about that? That is important? Because I wanted to talk about personal development in general too. What do you enjoy about it?
I think that it's like when I did my first marathon, it was 2014, and it was the New York Marathon. And at the time I was running and like just thinking about the running. And the more I trained, the more I was like, this is crazy. This is more about my mind than it is about my movement. And like that voice telling you to quit and to go, what are you doing? And meeting other people who were looking at me and look at my knees and go, are you sure about running a marathon? Now I heard running's bad for your knees. And I remember thinking, God, I have to do a lot of work here to protect my mind and to strengthen it. So that's what started it off. And that was the first time I found Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, Jim
Really?
Rohn. Yeah, it was. And then I was like, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. So online, you're known for being a master of guitar. So you like to do crazy shit. What does it take to become a master, you think, Dave?
You got to get obsessed. Like you're going to hear some cliche lines here, I think, but like you've got to be very clear on what you want. You've got to be very clear that you want it. You've got to be willing to pay the price. You've got to be willing to embrace the level of challenge. You've got to prioritize. And then at the same time, for all the things you've got to be clear on, you've also got to be okay about being unclear on certain things and finding your feet. It's not like having a flashlight where you can only see maybe a couple of feet in front of you rather than, there was no master plan for me to master guitar to the level I did. It was literally just desire and hard work.
Wow, really? So what, you got into it because you were in a band, and then what made you like really get obsessed about it? Was it in that process or?
I remember the night, I was 12 and I'd been messing about for a year or two with chords, Oasis, Blur, Offspring. And then one night, on my last night in school, a band of ex-students came along. These guys were in their late teens. I was 12, I think. And
Wow.
they played 3 songs. They played I Want It All by Queen. They started with Whiskey in the Jar, Thin Lizzy. Then they did I Want It All by Queen. And then they did Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits. And it was that last one. It was my first time hearing electric guitars and seeing a
Oh.
band. And they weren't like full-blown adults. So at the time, I think that seeing is believing. I thought, wow, these guys they can do this stuff. So that night, I remember sitting in the room. I saw the guitar player play a certain solo at the end of the song. And I went to the back of the room to my mother and I said, can I get guitar lessons? And she had, being the age I was when I started, she had said at the time, if you're getting a guitar now, you'll need to do lessons and you'll need to practice. And I didn't want to. I was being awkward. And then went to her and she said, what changed? I said, that guy did something there. I don't know how he did it. I have no clue how to get to there. And so I got the number of his teacher and went in for lessons and went straight in the door. And he asked, what do you want to learn? And I remember thinking, this is cool. The first question this guy asked me is like, what do I want to do? And I was very clear. I said the end solo of Sultans of Swing. And
Wow.
he kind of said, well, let's see what else you got first. And so I still have the page. I don't think I have it here in the house, but I have it somewhere else where you see the first page where he tested everything. Then on the back of the next page, he started showing me the solo. And yeah, it was so challenging.
I bet.
Lot. It was insane.
A solo like that.
Yeah, but the desire was there. And when you have enough desire.
That's very powerful. Yeah. And just getting obsessed. Oh, that's very cool. So it started super young as well. Yeah. And that's wild. You've been doing it for so long. You're still in it.
Yeah.
You said being obsessed has a price to pay. What do you think that price was for you?
Time, energy, effort, not going out to, let's say, discos or parties when the rest of my friends were, and just staying at home and practicing. And I didn't do sport, wasn't great at sport, but I consciously didn't do any more of it. Video games would have played less of those. So there's a lot of stuff missed. But when you're okay with it, you're okay with it.
Yeah. Of course, because you just care about guitar.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. The book I'm reading recently, another one by Ben Hardy, his latest one. It's called Science of Scaling. Have you heard of it?
Oh, yeah. I started listening to it there 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, no way. Me too. I just finished it yesterday.
Nice.
Have you been listening to it a little bit?
Just the start now. Just the start. How have you found it?
Just the intro by Tony Robbins, eh? So
I was motivated enough and then I was done.
It's super good. I like his writing a lot. It reminds me from what you said, because scaling is not just a business thing, but a life thing as well. And taking guitar to mastery is scaling guitar. And it's setting it, what's the principle of the book is like setting impossible goals and then using the future as a tool, meaning goals should not just make us stay linear and continue on our path, but make us become better, which makes us like focus. And if we keep doing the same thing that we are doing, then we'll keep going in that same direction. And impossible goals make us think more creatively. How can we do this thing that's crazy in a shorter period of time? Yeah. It's a great book. And also just like, it's also a great reminder. Like it really put a fire under my ass. I was like, why are we not at fucking 200,000 per month right now? But yeah, for business, for guitar, for triathlon as well. It's like, yeah, anything is possible. It's just very hard because you have to say no to so many things.
Definitely. You have to block out the noise as well.
Yeah, noise versus signal. Like that's the
Yeah.
Steve Jobs thing. Yeah, the noise versus
Like,
the signal. Like AI is such noise right now, but it's also like it could be great.
I know. I saw a great meme there yesterday. It was like, if the me of 2026 could go back to the me of March 2019 and tell them everything that was to come, I'd never believe them.
Mm.
You know, AI. It's but like
Yeah.
thinking back on the guitar, like at that age, I didn't even know what beliefs were. I didn't know that I had beliefs or
No.
didn't have beliefs. Didn't set I like unconsciously set goals. Didn't have frameworks. Didn't have
Yeah.
just naturally the desire and the
Mm.
action and effort put in. Just everything else was a
Yeah.
byproduct.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think, like, for people who want to get obsessed with anything, or like, let's talk about guitar, do you think that they should rely on natural obsession, or like, what's the balance between talent and skill there? What does it
I
take? Actually, the better question is, what does it take to really get good at a guitar, for example?
It takes being very clear on how much time you can put into it, because if you're an adult in your 40s, teenage years and retirement, two of the best times for somebody to go at guitar. So time is huge. Then the other thing that matters is that you pick specific things and you stay focused on them. Like
Yeah.
because the problem nowadays is that when I learned guitar, I went to my teacher. He was the source of information, and he fed me a little bit of information, checked I could do it enough before he give me more. He didn't say, here's all the song tutorials in all the world. That's what guitar players nowadays combat are
You have access to.
facing. Have
Yeah.
access to free information, but it costs so much in focus and so much in to master a skill. You've got to repeat basic actions again and again and again, and that's boring. And no YouTube video can sell that, because it sounds boring, and the brain loves new and novel. So
Yeah, that's true. What going into personal development, what have been some tools that have helped you the most there to realize these?
investing in coaching was one. I joined Jack Canfield's life coaching program in 2015.
Oh yeah?
And yeah,
No way.
and it was the first, it's a lot of money for me at the time to put into
I
coaching,
bet.
which I was like, how does this work? Had never known what a mastermind was, and read the success principles, because after having done one marathon, I wanted to do 10 in 10 months, speaking of stretch goals and impossible stuff, and into this world. But the big thing was I put down money. So I was following through. So that's been a big lesson with personal development. And NLP, after I found Jack Canfield, that led me to Tony Robbins, and then Jim Rohn, and then NLP. I went to a workshop a lady held here in Ireland, and I saw her helping people, and I was like, what is she doing, or how is she doing it? And those elements of NLP, and it got me interested. So I did a year long then of a coaching qualification. And I think when you learn something to teach,
Why did you want to learn that?
because to learn something at a deeper level, I think it's great to learn it, to teach it, or to do it, rather than just to take it in as information and talk about it. So I did that, and I loved how quick the change could come about, and seeing how beliefs worked was huge, you know.
That's awesome.
Mm.
Damn. Well, what's been your favorite event or program that you've been through? Or any like most memorable one? Because favorite is hard.
Oh man, okay, I'm not just saying it. I think the UPW with you guys was definitely up there in terms of the Dickens process, and that was huge. Yeah, I definitely came home and tore up a lot of stuff after that.
That's awesome. For people who don't know, that's a Tony Robbins event called Unleash the Power Within. Tony's entry event, you would call it, but it's just 4 days of craziness. but 4 days of transformation and the Dickens process. You want to tell people what Dickens process is?
Yeah, sure. The Dickens process, so it's based on Charles Dickens' story, A Christmas Carol. And it's basically you take something that you feel blocked about, something you want to change in your life, and you list out the limiting beliefs that are preventing you, that you feel are preventing you from making that change. And what happens then is, and this is done in a room of like 10,000 people all at once. So the energetic, the everybody being in one place gathering to do it, I think is a huge factor of it too. And so what happens is it's like 45 minutes to an hour of a process where you're brought back to the past and what your 3 beliefs have cost you. And it brings you across all the areas of your life. Like, what does it cost you in finances, relationships, a career, health? And it really paints a vivid picture. So it goes from writing on a page and some thoughts to like very tangible and visceral. This is really cost me stuff. And then you do it for the present. And then the big one is the future. Because it brings you a year ahead, 2, 5, 10, 20 years. What happens if you don't change? And it is, I mean, by the time it's at that point, like there's 10,000 people and like you can just feel the energy in the room is so, the pull of change. And then the one question comes up when he goes, is this what you want? And it will bring you back to the other side. Now I'm totally paraphrasing a very deep process done over an hour, but you get the idea. So then with the Dickens process, like it brings you 1 year into the future, 2 years, 5, 10, 20, until like the pain of not changing becomes so visceral and so, you just feel it at such a deep level.
Yeah.
And then I'll cut it short, like he'll bring you out of it and bring you into the changes you want to make. And it's, incredibly powerful process.
Yeah, because it really makes you have to make a change. Because the 2 emotions people will change for is either pain or pleasure. And usually people are afraid of looking at the pain. So this is making you face the pain of not changing and staying on that current trajectory.
Yeah.
It's a crazy process. How many times have you done that? 2 times?
Been to twice, 2016 and what year were we there? 2023, maybe? I think so.
I think so. Feels like a while ago, but feels not too long ago as well.
Yeah. But no, it's really cool. Really cool event.
That's awesome. As well, that's been one of your favorite ones. I thought you were saying what's his name? The Italian American.
John DiMartini, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
you like
that was
too.
up there. Second I said UPW, breakthrough experience was the second one that came to mind for sure. Yeah.
Why is that one so powerful?
That one, the stories you hear from it, like I signed up for that pure word of mouth. Like the stories you hear from it of people go through this experience, and you're full 24 hours there over a weekend, and you're brought through an experience where you go and you work on somebody, and he brings you through. Yeah, so let's say you could go and say, I want to work on a parent, and then it will go, well, what trait, action or inaction in whoever you want to work on, so it gets you to identify, well, what's the thing? So if somebody said whoever's negative, like literally that would go, what do you mean by that? And it gets it down to like, what's the action or inaction? And it's basically works with you on your disowned parts. So if you're saying, oh, they did this thing, it will literally bring you through a huge process where you'll go back through your timeline of life and go, where have I done that? Who did I do that to in this form? Who observed me doing that? And you go through it until, with certainty, you will own that that trait that you see in them is in you as well. Yeah.
Interesting. And you're forgiving each part? What do you mean by owning?
It's not even forgiving, because let's just say forgiving would mean that it's still deemed as negative. It would be more that you would go back through the timeline and you would go, where have I done it? And by the end of it, you can see the benefits that actually led to in your life. So, because nobody's going to work on perceived positive stuff. So then it'll be like, well, all these gifts
Yeah.
are there for you, you know?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
similar to Tony's effective blaming process, when she does a date with
Yeah,
Destiny.
yeah, exactly.
Actually,
Yeah.
He gets people to like blame one person for all the good, of course, but also, I mean, all the bad, of course, but also all the good that has come from that. Because you would not have become the person that you are today without the influences of your life. That's a very
100%.
powerful exercise, actually. That's awesome. Going back to guitar a little bit, you had only recently transitioned to helping people online as well now. What you were doing it very much in person before. What how long were you doing in person before you transitioned to online?
I would say a solid at least 17, 18 years
Wow,
maybe. Yeah,
that's wild.
teaching a long time. Yeah, just
Yeah,
found, yeah, I forgot what year I sold my first courses in. Was it 2022 maybe? Shout out to Arnaud CZ, who helped a mutual friend of ours.
no
But
way. That's awesome. He pushed you to do that.
100%. I sold my first 10 course because of Arnaud's coaching. 100%.
That's sick.
So
That's
yeah,
so
so
sick.
that definitely shifted beliefs. And then but online, like that very thing I was saying at the beginning about guitar players nowadays, that everything's up there. I found the same then for entrepreneurship, like
Yeah,
following 9 different people, trying bits of this, bits of that, you know.
totally. And now are you fully online, or you still have in person as well?
No, still in person. I like in person, and I think the more the internet gets washed with AI
Yeah,
stuff, I think there's a drive coming back to humans, just connecting with
for
humans
sure.
in person.
Well, it's cool you do the events though, like a group event of gathering. That's super cool. Have you
Yeah.
thought of like just keeping that part of the in person instead of the
I will,
lessons?
yeah. You definitely. It's just that they take a lot of energy. Like a weekend of interacting, I kind of. The
Totally.
last time I did one, I was wrecked for a week after, so I need to look into that.
Oh
But
shit.
yeah, my own
Yeah.
mismanagement of energy. But yeah,
You're
but
taking care of a
definitely
lot of
because
people. Yeah.
definitely a lot of people, and like the thing to do with AI is that we'll say the more information, like you really have to come to peace with the fact that something you've spent 20 to 23 years building an insane knowledge base in, the knowledge is essentially uh, useless slash worthless in terms of being a deposit, a thing of info. But when
Yeah.
it's wrapped up in human care and connection, that's where the
Hmm.
value is now coming, you know?
Yeah. What's the thing people enjoy most now learning online with you? Part of, yeah, what aspect?
I I think the thing they enjoy most is being part of a community with others who are
Mm.
also learning, and they're no
Mm.
longer on their own and alone in a room trying to
Mm.
figure things out, and just have the whole internet coming at them with algorithms and suggested videos. And now they're in a little community space where they realize that they could be learning in whatever country, and they could see somebody in Europe, somebody in America, Canada,
Yeah.
Egypt, struggling with the same thing as them, and it just makes it more real and human for them.
Yeah. Our students, yeah, that's the reason people continue. It's usually the community is really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite powerful. The now you're switching even more into entrepreneur mode rather than just teacher. What's been the toughest thing about that, you feel?
Focus and
Mm.
not overthinking and switching off, because, teaching in person,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm going to find anybody that'll want to come for a lesson after 9 o'clock at night or midnight or 2 in the morning. But online, you can
Yeah.
be online and you can work whatever you want as early in the morning as you want. So the
True that.
guardrails around it, you know.
Hmm. Switching off. Yeah. Now that you're living with your girlfriend, are you able to switch off a little bit more? Or are you still
Yeah.
super locked in, you feel?
No, I'm switching off more. She's been great. Yeah, definitely. Like I think at the moment, like I'm 40 May. And yeah, I think at the moment lately where I was like, whenever the end of life comes, if you manage to see it and have time to reflect back, like when I think of what I'll remember most, it's the being around people and the shared experiences. And it won't be all the hours I'll have spent on my own in a coffee shop on a laptop. Although that leads to some of this, but it's just be mindful of technology. I think that's coming more and more on my radar now.
Yeah. It is an important key. But again,
Yeah.
still quite young. I mean, 40 can be still, it's, as Gary Vee would say, you're a fucking child.
Yeah.
Still lots of energy. Now doing a lot of online business, teaching, which is super cool, helping a lot of people. And you won the school games, which is super sick. School games is run by Alex Hormozi, which makes it super awesome. And you broke some record months for yourself too, scaling past 10K per month. Was it?
No, I did. I had a 10K month last year. And yeah, by the end of the games, last year I'd added, I think $5,500 monthly recurring revenue. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The games are crazy. Yeah.
That really pushed you to, so that's like a competition to see who can make the most money, basically, with the company.
Yeah, long story short, it was like they're in the school platform, which is an online community platform. There's 10 different community categories, and you enter it by default. So if you enroll a student or enroll a member, you can place on the board. So the top 5 out of each category gets flown out to Los Angeles.
So
and you
cool.
Get to meet, it's so cool. You get to meet Alex Hormozi, Sam Ovens, Andrew Kirby, and the other people who win. So it'd been on my radar last year, and I'd 1 or 2 attempts, and then the last quarter of the year, I thought, right, I'm absolutely going to go all in, and
that's so
became
cool.
obsessed, essentially.
Yeah. You told me multiple times, and that's very cool to see you execute that. Did that was still focused on low ticket though compared to high ticket. Did you consider just staying on low tickets after that? Because it worked pretty well, no?
It worked. Yeah, it worked. The thing with low ticket I find is that advantage is it's low ticket, like with respect to somebody can pay you a lower dollar amount to learn. And what I saw, not in all cases, but in a good amount of cases, for some people, they want to learn with free stuff. Other people feel like they're more of a guitar player if they invest something in their guitar education each month. And then life can get in the way. And I just saw that the students who were doing more personalized packages with me were more invested. They were getting better results, more time, energy, focus on the instrument. So with the low ticket at the end of last year, I was like, okay, I won the games. That was really cool. Do I want to keep building this where, it can grow, but perhaps people aren't it won't have as much impact. Because my love is mastery and I'm obsessed with technique. And if somebody's paying such an amount per month or a higher amount for more hands-on education, this person generally will take way more action,
Totally. Yeah, so just serving more high intent people who really want to get to a high level of mastery.
Yeah. And so like the thing too is, like mastery is just my preference. I've worked with players who just love being part of a community and they love logging on and they love talking with others going, look, I'll get around to it one of the days. But they're not alone learning. And so I turned my community to free this week. So my school community is now free. Yeah. So I get everything I was charging for last year in terms of content is now free. So I'm just giving away all the content, and if anybody then wants to work more hands-on, they can.
Wow.
Mm.
That's awesome. Congrats, dude. Was
Yeah.
that hard?
Yeah, took a lot of thinking, and
I bet.
you know, been years building the content library, and
Totally.
it's all structured, and there's other people who could build a very successful
Yeah.
business off content and stuff. But no, I want to make it as accessible and like to as many guitar players around the world as possible. And then if they're in a place then that they can invest in their own playing, they can put a foot forward. That's what I want to do.
That's so cool.
Mm.
Because you can literally get really good at guitar by just learning that mastery guitar. That is sick. I might send that to my dad as well. Because
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I did send them your page in school. Because both my brothers and my dad, they play guitar. And and my dad is like sometimes on, sometimes off, classic route.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he wants to get serious, then it could be an awesome thing to do.
100%.
That's so sick.
There's the thing too is like I said it to everybody inside the community, because you know, like there's a lot of relationships and friendships formed inside there, and like there'll be free live classes as well. And the whole idea is that like I just build out a body of work in there through content.
Yeah. Is that still going to help you like to get people in and then send people to, invite the serious ones to come mastery to like learn with you?
Exactly. Like you can already see players that come in and they get results without much accountability, without much hands-on help. They just literally follow the steps. And sometimes that points to certain careers that people are in that, that they're self-directed. It's cool.
That's awesome. That's super cool. What are you most excited about in your business over let's say the next year or so?
I'm most excited about creating the system that reverse engineers how to get really good at guitar really fast. Yeah.
You feel like you haven't created that exactly yet, or what?
Not as accelerated as I know I could.
Sure. Yeah. Are you going to use AI?
You know what? For some things, but like I'm definitely coming out the other end of having used AI to think a bit too much. Definitely fell into that trap. So rebuilding some original thinking and not just using the easy button is huge, because like, I think at the end,
so true.
like again, not to do the end of life example, but like unless humans start to think, I speak for myself, unless I start to think more originally about certain things and try things as if AI never existed. Otherwise, if you just use AI all the time, you're really just being a proxy for AI's work rather than AI being a tool. So, it's...
Yeah. Such a fine balance. Did you see there's it's even like a website where AI can hire you to do manual work. Did you see that?
Nice. No.
Yeah, I sent it to my brother. So it's like, hey, you could earn more than your regular job. Just do tasks for AI. Yeah. And it'll hire you for whatever, $50 an hour.
Oh my God, man. I think once there's robots, I think that once they're in the physical world, I think that's when like things are going to get crazy. Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's going very fast.
It is. I heard a great quote in a book that's going to be released in a couple of months. And it was a quote, I'm going to not get it exactly, but it's just like we have, there's a paleolithic or whatever types of brains, old brains that are brought through medieval institutions like the older education system in a world where technology is rapidly accelerating and advancing. the three things it's a crazy mix.
Wait, say that again. I didn't completely get it.
So let's say our brains, we have whatever prehistoric brains that have to go through education systems that are really old and outdated, really. All in a world where technology is advancing and accelerating rapidly. It's just the three things don't match.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we're not even ready for it. You got to finish the book, The Science of Scaling. It's so good.
Yeah.
For real.
Nice.
Like,
I will.
It just prepares you for everything, I feel. Last question. What was the best thing of being flown to Vegas? What was the best thing about that event?
I think the best thing was, in a sense, it was just being around others who are on a mission. Others who were were clear, and whether it's they're serving salsa dancers or if it was an art school or guitar schools, that being around others and learning from them was huge.
Yeah. Everything is valuable almost in that environment. Yeah. I'm so pumped for my birthday.
Cool. It's going to be brilliant, man. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah. Also, not as big as that, but still pretty sick. What's a question you wish you were asked, or something that you would want to mention?
I think the power of taking a pen and paper still and being alone with your thoughts and seeing what's going on in your body. I think like all the knowledge that's out there now and all the information, it's very head heavy. So I think getting outside is moving, remembering that was like to feel human.
Yeah, that's powerful. Everybody should go watch my episode with Derek Sivers. He's a very good example of this.
So cool. I was listening to his book there lately, and that's a great podcast episode.
Which book were you listening to?
It was Hell Yes or No.
That's a good one.
Hell Yes or Hell No?
Yeah. Hell Yes or Hell No. I don't think I've listened to that one, actually.
It's really good. Well, he's a great example of somebody who he lives life on his own terms, no matter what's going on in the world. And I think that's good. Yeah. Like Jim Rohn said, craft your own philosophy. That's what he always said at the start of things, and pick up things. And I think algorithms, you really have to battle harder not to get overly influenced, because if an algorithm locks on that you think a certain way, guess what? Your philosophy is going to get really swayed unless you're sure of it,
Yeah. So true. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you, if they want to master guitar, Dave?
People can find me on School. That's SKOOL. If you enter the schoolofguitar.com or davedonoghue.com, they'll both lead to School. And that's where you'll find me. You can drop me a DM, or you can find my free guitar school. Nice redirects. All to school. Simplicity. Sick, dude. Thanks so much for coming on the... Thanks for coming on the podcast. Thanks for having me. It's been great to catch up, and looking forward to seeing you later this year.